The biggest motivator for me, I would say my future self, because every time a difficult circumstance comes along or failure comes along, I heard this one saying from a podcaster a few years ago, and it was the future you needs you now to become who he has to be. The self-doubt that of the thoughts that come to your mind when you're telling yourself why you can't do this, why you can't start, take some time and ask yourself whose voice is this? Because although it's your voice in your head because you're talking to yourself in your mind, ask yourself whose voice is this? Who's that person that telling you you can't do this? Because a lot of the time, the first person you think of, that the first name comes up, think about it deeply and you'll get that person actually saying it and not yourself.
Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom, Your Business Journey, the podcast where we share valuable insights, resources, and motivation to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit. Let's build a supportive community together. Don't forget to subscribe or follow wherever you listen to podcasts and be part of this journey. Let's pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors. You've built a name for yourself through hard work and dedication, but does managing the business side feel like a distraction from your true passion? Are you dealing with unmanaged finances? CME Accounting LLC is here to help. We specialize in organizing your financial records, allowing you to focus on what you do best. With organized books, you'll have more time for what inspires you, whether that's expanding your influence, building relationships, or simply enjoying life. Don't let unmanaged finances hold you back. Reach out to CME Accounting LLC today and let us help you thrive. Visit our website www.cmeaccountingllc.com or email us at admin@cmeaccountingllc.com. All right, let's jump back into our conversation.
Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom, Your Business Journey. I'm your co-host, Angela Sindenis, and today we're excited. Clarita and I will be learning about wine. Joining us on the podcast today is a young man who is blending heritage, hustle, island flavor into wine. Every bottle of this bold new wine brand is handcrafted in St. Lucia, an island in the Caribbean. And guess what? He's using locally grown fruits. Our guest is none other than Harvey Pierre, the founder of Aveya Wine. What started as a tribute to his grandmother's tradition has grown into a movement connecting culture, community, and creativity through every sip. Harvey is an entrepreneur, a builder, a dreamer. And today on Begin, Build, Blossom, we'll be uncorking his wine story. Welcome to the podcast, Harvey.
Thank you for having me.
And you're in luck because you have Clarita and I as co-hosts today. I mean, normally we're out doing our own thing. So certainly we're looking forward to hearing a lot about your story and who's the young man behind Aveya.
Yes, I look forward to having a conversation with you all.
Yes. And I was showing you earlier my St. Lucian earrings. I'm just so proud to have, the three of us here. And I was telling you how I view your videos on LinkedIn and social media, and I see you on the beach, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss it so much. So welcome again, and thanks so much for saying yes to being on the podcast.
No, it wasn't a problem. I'm more than happy to be here.
Awesome.
As Clarita is saying, we're repping it. Coincidentally, I'm wearing black and white with yellow. So we're having our flag, and Clarita has her pale blue, which is matching her flag colors as well.
Yeah.
Yes. And I do have my pen, my St. Lucia pen. So I'm repping all the way.
Okay, so 758 in the house in every way.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's get started. Let's get into the meat of the matter. Harvey, we have a section called Rapid Fire in which it allows us to learn more about our guests in a different way, not particularly focus on the business, but on you as a person. So to start off, there's a question we always ask every guest. How would you describe yourself in one word as a child and yourself now? So one word how you were as a child, and one word, how you are now.
As a child, I was curious, although I like to tinker with stuff. I like to build stuff. I like to explore. I like biking. But to my parents, that they would probably call that troublesome rather than curious. And now I would say I'm determined. I'm focused on building a strong foundation of the business I'm currently starting.
So what would you say brought on that transition from curiosity to determination?
I believe it was my upbringing. Throughout the years, my dad had a lot of side hustles whilst working a 9 to 5. So I was always there helping him, doing certain heavy equipment work, welding jobs. And throughout doing that, I learned what it was to work hard for what you want and make it happen.
Okay, wonderful. So it means you're kind of a jack of all trades in a way.
I would like to say so.
Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing that. Our next question has to do with reading or perhaps watching a movie. Which one do you like, reading or movies?
Movies.
All right. So in that case, is there a movie that you've watched that you would recommend that left a message with you?
The Pursuit of Happiness. The story of resilience, setbacks, and he was very persistent on what he wanted to do, what he wanted to achieve. That resonates a lot with me right now.
Okay, wonderful. So you see it as a level of encouragement that we can take from it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good movie indeed. And definitely it's about resilience and just sustaining, pursuing what it is that you set out, beginning with the end in mind, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we move on to something fun. What would you say is a fun fact that most people don't know about you?
My biggest hidden secret was the wine brand, really and truly. That no one knew about it. None of my friends, no one outside of my family knew I was making wine. That was one of my biggest passions. And now it's not hidden anymore. So now I wonder what is it that what passion do I have? What do I not that people don't know right about now? There's not.
Nothing springs to mind.
No.
All right. Well, then we'll move on to something that's more interesting, perhaps we can say. As children or even as adults, there are different places in the world that we'd like to go. If there's somewhere that you could be right now in the entire world, where would that be and why?
St. Lucia's pretty nice, to be honest. But if I had to choose, I would probably say Japan.
Why?
It's like going somewhere that's completely out of your comfort zone and then having a language that's not like any other language and the culture that I've seen at least from online and movies and everything. I would like to experience that firsthand.
Okay. All right. Good. See, there's a great choice. So you get to learn about the world. So in your introduction, we spoke about culture. So this shows your interest in other cultures as well.
You're good at tying it in.
Yeah. All right. So we're coming down to the final question in rapid fire. As a child, is there anything that you could think of that makes you smile today? Something that perhaps an engagement, since you did a lot with your grandmother, something your grandmother would say or do that when you think about it, you just want to smile. It brings a smile to your face.
The thing is, I can tell you the first thought but the first thought is really embarrassing. Okay, I'll tell you on the first thought. The first thought that came to mind of something that really stuck as a child. During summer breaks, we went to my grandmother's house, me and all my cousins, and all my cousins were other boys of similar age. So I had a goat there, and they encouraged me. I was the youngest, and they encouraged me to say, well, we don't have a horse to ride, we have a goat. Let's ride the goat. They made me ride the goat first, knowing they weren't gonna ride the goat after me. And the goat, as soon as I went on it, hold the rope with a little kick, right into the bush.
So you fell off the goat and you got a few bruises?
A few bruises, but the main thing was I didn't fall off the goat. I went into the bush with the goat because I was too afraid to jump off.
Okay, but that's a good thing. You held on. So you see, the story of resilience and determination. You even had it in your childhood.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, great. So that made us laugh as well. And thank you so much for sharing. I know it was something probably you had hidden in your subconscious. And we forgive.
Yeah. It's been many years I haven't thought about that.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, thanks for
It makes
sharing
me
that.
wonder though, how did your cousins react?
They have a video up to today,
Oh,
Oh,
and
really? So
for
this
some,
is
yeah.
recent.
No, it's not recent. It's 2011, 2012.
Listen, that's recent. My son is 13. That's only 13 years ago. That's
when you're talking to folks our age, that's
Oh, my bad, my bad.
yeah, and considering that there was video around, so yes, it's recent.
well, wow. So and honestly, that story brings me back to growing up in Labrie, St. Lucia, and just all those things that we did. And I'm just so glad there was no video. So let's go into the beginning of your business. So I know you mentioned in your childhood, you see your dad, you said, did side hustles in addition to his 9 to 5. You also helped your grandma. So can you tell us a little bit about when you thought about actually starting your own business?
The first time I thought about starting a business, I was 14 years old, thereabouts. I saved money from washing cars of like family members and friends, and I spent all that money remodeling a bike. And when I looked at my receipts from all my purchases after I built the bike, I realized, wow, I made a lot of money and I spent a lot of money on a bike. So I think in all I spent about $1,500 in paint, stickers, and a whole bunch of other parts. I, I don't regret it. That was like the proudest moment when I saw that I could have spray paint, I could have done stickers, I could have actually done it to a high quality, and I was like really proud of myself. A few years later, 2 years later, when the bike started getting old, I was there like, that's a waste of money. But I enjoyed it. My brain was sheltered, but very work focused. Schoolwork to get my scholarship, helping my dad with the side hustles, as I said, and training for track. At the time, I felt like it was hard labor, but looking back, it built a lot of my work ethic that I have now. I didn't go out much, and I didn't have a big friend group, so I kept to myself, and that solitude gave me time to think and build my discipline, I would say. Yeah.
And I guess during those times, that's when you thought about the business and actually becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah, different stuff. So that's when I wanted to start like a car wash business. I did it for a few years. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. So what made you transition from the car wash to what you do now?
During my teens, whilst I was going secondary school there, and I stopped because I didn't have the energy because training 5 times a week plus helping my dad, I didn't have the time on weekends to really do it because I had to do other house chores, other works and stuff. So I eventually like stopped doing it as big and only kept it to like my family members. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that shows us that you've really had that drive and you've learned I guess you learned very early pivoting. So let's talk about your current business. Tell us the name of your business and what you do.
Current business is Aveya Winery. We produce small batches of wines. What I do, I make the wine, I promote it. I'm pretty much the main person for everything, finances, everything.
Are you solo in the business right now? Are you even full-time or part-time?
I would say I'm full time, I'm part time, full time, a lot of the time. All my extra time.
Okay. All right. And do you work by yourself or do you have a team that you work with?
I work on my own, and I have one cousin of mine who gives me a lot of advice on LinkedIn and the branding side of it.
Okay. All right. So it's so nice to be able to hear basically what you did before, what actually created that passion for you. and how you learn so much from your upbringing in terms of, helping your dad and just thinking about business quite a bit.
Okay. Thank you, Clarita, for that. And I just wanted to come back a little bit to your beginning before we transition. The first wine, so you were making the wines with your grandmother. That first time, tell us a little bit about that experience with her. How was it? Did she just get fruits and put them together and you see her doing this and say, oh, I want to learn it? Or did she just say, come with me, Timamai, or whatever the
I
case
wouldn't
may
say
be?
it was
Let's do
come
it.
with me, TMI, not as aggressive as that. It was more or less, she didn't have the strength to actually lift because she made it in like 5 gallon buckets at the time, and she didn't have the strength anymore to lift it to pour it into another bucket while straining and other stuff. So I was the one who helped her lift it up and strain it. I watched what she was doing, and when I left secondary school, I wanted to start my own business. So I was looking at different business models to start, and I figured that this is a good business model because no one doing it like the idea I have in my mind. They have other local wines. Everyone makes local wine. Everybody, their grandmother used to make it, but no one didn't think of it branding wise the way I was thinking of it. So I knew it was a good business model back in 2020, but I knew how much effort I would have to put in for it to be what it was in my mind to bring it to life. So I packed it on the side and tried other business models whilst going to Alpha.
Okay. So what shifted? How did you decide, okay, you know what? In the first instance, you thought it was too much work, but then now you're into it. So what shifted? What changed your mindset?
I also had a lot of insecurities towards making the wine, as in insecurities in the aspect. When I say insecurities, I mean going up to people, talking to them, having to socialize with so many people. I wouldn't say I'm a natural extrovert. I just know how to turn it on when I need to. And the fact that I would have to speak to so many people because like sales is the average, is talking about averages. So you have to talk to 100 people, only 20 might sell. So I knew that already. So that was just like, man, I can't do that. And then eventually it changed, and I realized that that's the insecurity and that's something that limiting me. So I said, let me try it, let me sell it. And I got it into one of my uncle's bars, and they did all the selling for me. So a win is a win. Yeah, the pressure.
Let's pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors. You've built a name for yourself through hard work and dedication, but does managing the business side feel like a distraction from your true passion? Are you dealing with unmanaged finances? CME Accounting LLC is here to help. We specialize in organizing your financial records, allowing you to focus on what you do best. With organized books, you'll have more time for what inspires you. Whether that's expanding your influence, building relationships, or simply enjoying life. Don't let unmanaged finances hold you back. Reach out to CME Accounting LLC today and let us help you thrive. Visit our website www.cmeaccountingllc.com or email us at admin@cmeaccountingllc.com. All right, let's jump back into our conversation.
Okay. So tell us about these wines. What flavors of wines do you make at the moment?
At the moment, I'm still like testing with a variety, every single fruit I can get my hands on. So right now I'm going into the limiting part of like what I can get the most fruits of to grow it. So right now I have pineapple, caramola, which is five finger as would be known locally, sorrel, jamun. I'm not sure if you'll ever heard of jamun. A lot of people
Yes,
get
it's a
lost.
purple fruit. Yeah.
Grape
Yeah.
wine? Is it sea grape? No, just a
No,
grape
it's
wine.
not. It's a very colorful thing.
Purplish.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the size of a grape, but it has a bigger seed.
Yeah.
Pomme d'amour. I think I'm missing one, Oh, sugarcane, now I forgot.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Okay. All right. Lovely. So you have a real tropical variety of wines.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question had to do with your first client. So we know your first client is kind of your uncle. Would you say that?
Yeah.
So how did you decide you would approach your uncle to sell it for you and not someone else? Or why did
I was looking at everybody that I was looking at more or less the people who were at the bar. So what customer basis would buy this wine, would drink it. So I just asked my grandmother like who's buying the wines from her at the market, who was doing it. And when she described the type of people, it was basically the people at that uncle bar. So I tried there and it did well. They sold it. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it sold. So it was proof of concept.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. At the moment, do you have other locations that the wine can be found at besides your
Yeah,
uncle?
I have another bar in Beaufort right now and a souvenir store in Beaufort that's locally, and I haven't actually got a confirmation with the souvenir stores I'm working with, but these are those that supply.
Okay, so currently you have 3 confirmed locations and you're exploring others.
Yeah,
I'm just curious. So you moved from partnership, like somebody you know, like your uncle, and now you exploring partnerships and you actually have partnerships with others. How was that transition for you?
it was basically I just went to them and asked, like a cousin of mine. A lot of everything that encourages mainly my family that would encourage me. So a cousin of mine encouraged me like, hey, just go to these people and just ask, what do you need for them to stock your wines? And I just went had a conversation. A lot of people see me as a young entrepreneur, just wants to help or give me the knowledge. So if they can't help, they provide me some sort of knowledge, and that's what happened with all those partnerships. I got referrals, and when I went to them, used the person that referred me to them, and they were willing to have a conversation with me.
And I know, based on your LinkedIn profile, I saw that you have a 5-year goal and a 10-year goal, and that includes the wines being poured in on the cruise ship. So you have some really big goals. So how do you feel about that?
They're my goals. I'm excited to achieve them, I would say.
Okay, great. And I could see how the partnerships you've started now, they're going to, just going to keep building. So it looks like you're quite on your way to meeting those goals.
Yeah, the hotels, I got the two things with the two hotels, and I'm just working out the details as to them supplying my wines with Shade Mountain and Cap Miso. That's another hotel in Brazil.
All right, it sounds good. So you're utilizing the network to help you
Yeah,
to expand. So that's a great way to go. You have to go far. You need a community.
yeah.
So as you continue to build your business, what would you say has been the biggest leap you've had to take?
Getting over my insecurities. As I said, I didn't sell like the selling face to face, making people taste the wine, even talking to people. So I com I compared my batch to big name brands, even though I was just a kid making wine from his home, and that comparison was really what was holding me back. Also.
Okay. So I'm really glad that you were able to recognize that you're in your own category. And usually for us, it's the comparison that always keeps us behind.
Yeah,
We always have to accept this is what I'm doing. I don't have those resources, but this is what I have. I believe it's of value and I can take it to the market.
I just wanted to butt in. But also my comparison it was warped because the view I was taking. I was comparing fruit wines to grape wines. And what I realized was I'm not making grape wine, so why should I compare it? Or why should I brand it how a grape wine would be branded? So when I realized that, hey, I'm in a category of one because there's no wine brand in the Caribbean to compare to. There are wine businesses, there are people who make wine and sell it, but the brand and the community they build around it, there isn't that.
Okay, excellent. So that's great identification as an entrepreneur. So you have a niche that you can continue to build on.
And also for even your wine tasting, I see that came through. You had a post about the way you conduct your wine tasting, because there is a certain way that it's done for the grape wine, but you changing that as well when it comes to the way you do yours. So do you mind touching on that a little bit?
With traditional grape wines, they're very formal. Everything, grape wine has a big history. Wine in general has a history, going back to probably Jesus Christ, as everybody knows. Everything has a standard. People smell the wine, they have the certain notes, they take the certain notes and they try to recreate it over the years, and there's a certain way that they describe it. Yes, you would describe it the same way as my wines, but the way you experience it is I'm not bringing you something you've tasted and you just taking the little differences in each wine brand. So this one has a little bit more nutty flavor and stuff, so they would say I'm actually making you taste something that's completely different from any other wine you've ever tasted. Because everyone who's used to, all tourists I've given the wine to who's used to traditional grape wine will be like, wow, this is completely different to what I'm used to. And that's the point. So with my wine tasting, I wanted to go with something different, something to represent St. Lucia. So pairing it with different local fruits, different local stuff, instead of the cheeses and crackers they would normally use. So they would experience, that's an experience they can have to really bring out more of what St. Lucia has to offer, what we grew up raised eating, and just pairing it so that you get a real experience of everything the island has to offer with my wine. So that's what I bring to the wine tasting aspect. At least that's my thought process behind it.
It seems like you've really embraced the uniqueness of what you do and where you're at.
Earlier, you mentioned that you're doing everything yourself. But if you're going to grow to achieve those big goals you have, what would your team look like? Because at the moment, you're making the wine, you're branding the wine, you're advertising the wine. And I'm assuming you're sourcing materials for the wine.
Yeah, for the most part. Yes.
Okay. So that means that maybe you employ people as needed.
Yeah.
Okay. So in order to grow to the magnitude that you desire, you'll need to build a team. So to get to that next step, who are those individuals you think you'd require on your team? An accountant, a manager, a sales rep? That's what we're thinking. Because people are important for you to achieve the level of success and reach that you'd like.
Okay, so if you're talking about next step, I would get someone who's like multi-talented, like can wear many hats. So if I could get someone that's able to, I'm more or less the face of the brand, like marketing wise. So if I can get someone to do the back end of research, analytics, and that aspect of the whole atmosphere of social media, plus helping with the physical labor of actually making the wine, because there's a lot of prep work before you actually put everything together and put the wine to ferment. So that's probably the next step. But then the future goal would probably be an expert in each field. So one person for marketing, one person to help with like harvesting, prepping, and then making and bottling, that whole aspect. Finances, I believe. Yeah, one person for finances. What other aspects of the business am I missing?
So you've captured some critical elements in terms of your business. And so that's really good that you have an idea of what's required for each phase to move Aveya forward. So you mentioned finances. At the moment, do you do all of your finances yourself, or do you engage an accountant or someone to help you?
I do all of it myself. YouTube, everything is on the internet. Everything is guiding me as to what the process is. So I do everything myself.
but do you see a need to eventually engage somebody in that way sooner rather than later?
Most likely, the way sales are is there's going to be three categories of income for the wine. So that would be hectic to record on my own, plus doing everything else I'm doing. So yeah, I need someone.
Okay.
As the accountant in the room here, I'll just say it's really good that you're thinking about that. And as small business owners, sometimes you don't always engage with other professionals. But it's good that you are thinking that way, because having an accountant on your team, having somebody in marketing, having other people on your team, it's so important to help you grow. So I'm just really glad that you're thinking about that.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So as we move along to the final two segments, in business, there's always a time where you feel you were inspired, you were determined to get started, but then something comes along that probably derails the whole idea. Have you felt at any point since you started in 2020 that I want to give up? It's not worth it anymore.
2023, I actually gave up for a while. I felt overwhelmed. I stopped moving forward, just felt stagnant. Plus everything else happening in life at the moment. I felt like that just wasn't the right timing for it. But even in that pause, I never believed the vision itself was a fail, because I have an idea of what the core of Aveya was, what the core of the wine brand I wanted to make. I didn't have the name at the time. As the saying goes, every boat has to take in some water during its testing. So I just figured that was what happened. Looking back at it now.
Okay, so that was your pause to gather your reset.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. So I think you answered it in a way though, because you said even though you were having that challenge, you still had the bigger vision and saw it as a rest. All right. So we've gone through the begin section, the build section, and now blossom. The ultimate goal is to have your wine around the world, have it on cruise ships so persons can enjoy it. How have you seen your business grow from the beginning to now? And then what do you think will be required to get to that next step, to blossom, essentially?
I need to up production. That's the biggest thing I've seen. Like, everything else can come, everything else will come, but if I don't have product for people to try and then for them to convert, eventually down the line, I have no business pretty much. So building facilities to actually store more wine would probably be the next practical step for me.
Okay. All right. That's
Because
good.
I know how marketing will work. I know how my financials will work. So just putting together the facilities and more of the legal work to make sure that I'm doing everything by code. Because that's actually the process I'm in right now.
Okay. Okay, great. So you building that foundation to accomplish the goals later on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thanks for sharing that. What motivates you to keep going though, even when the challenges come?
The biggest motivator for me, funny enough, is I would say my future self, because every time a difficult circumstance comes along or failure comes along, I heard this one saying from a podcaster a few years ago, and it was, the future you needs you now to become who he has to be. So knowing that when I go through these failures and I know who I want to become in the future, the person I want to become in the future has to go through that because I've gone through it. So knowing that all the trials and stuff are going to happen, once I do die, I know like I have to be that person.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that personal passion or belief, I would say, systems. Now, as we conclude the blossom section, what is one lesson you would say you've learned and you'd like to share with our audience as you grow your business?
I had a lot of self-doubt And a lot of people have a lot of self-doubt when it comes to starting a business because not everyone who starts a business has the encouragement or they have someone they look up to who is a business person so that they can see like they saw what that person went to build their business. Not everyone has the privilege of getting to experience that. So the self-doubt that of the thoughts that come to your mind when you're telling yourself why you can't do this, why you can't start, take some time and ask yourself whose voice is this? Because although it's your voice in your head because you're talking to yourself in your mind, ask yourself whose voice is this? Who's that person that telling you you can't do this? Because a lot of the time, the first person you think of, that the first name comes up, think about it deeply and you'll get that person actually saying it and not yourself.
Okay. So it starts within. So we start with that inner voice has to change in order for us to get the support from the outside. Okay. That's excellent. Thanks for sharing that. Clarita, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I just really liked what you said because it's an exercise I think that we should all go through. So thanks for sharing that with us. And I'm sitting here thinking that you've really brought us on a journey here to see where you started, to see where you are now, and to see how you're thinking of the future. And I love how you have all this visibility on LinkedIn and the passion really shows, and it sounds like you have a good support system. And I love your confidence, and I can see that you know where you're headed and you're definitely taking the steps that you need to get there. That takes us to our closeout segment. I want you to share with us one last thing you want to leave with our audience. And if you can just tell us the best way that people can reach you.
Be consistent. I'm not the best at being consistent. I'm still learning to be consistent. But I know like if I was consistent as I should be, I would be much further in life. So just be consistent because that's something I had to learn later in life rather than sooner. So I would like to lead that. And everyone can reach me on LinkedIn at Harvey Pierre, HARVEYPIERRE, and all other social media platforms is Niles, NIYLEZ.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Harvey, from Aveya Winery in St. Lucia. This has been Begin, Build, Blossom, Your Business Journey. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you. Bye for now. Until next time. A quick note before we wrap up. The insights and experiences shared by our guests are their own. We love creating space for real conversations about business and growth, and everyone's journey is unique. Therefore, this podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. It is not meant to replace legal, financial, or other professional advice. So, we encourage you to take what's useful, do your own due diligence, and build what works best for you.
Thanks for listening to Begin, Build, Blossom, Your Business Journey. We hope today's conversation gave you the insights and the inspiration you need to move forward on your own path. Don't forget to subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. Do you have feedback? We'd love to hear from you at podcast@cmeaccountingllc.com. Join us again next week for a new episode.